We all know that ads are a big lie. We know that eating Wheaties will not turn us into super athletes. We know that wearing Axe will not make women flock to men. But somehow, ads still resonate with us and have a profound influence on us. Over the past 50 years, expenditures on advertisements have increased fivefold. While the increase in advertisement expenditures, we began spending more time shopping than ever before. Our houses are now 3 times bigger than they used to be, and consumer debt is the highest today that it has ever been. We are now in the age of hyper-consumption. Are these mere coincidences, or are they consequences? Advertisements show a very narrow reflection of reality, especially in the representation of women. Some theories postulate that as women's status increases in our capitalistic society, women have become targeted in advertising. Women in ads appear as dumb, submissive, childish, and most importantly, as sexual creatures. Rosalind Gill, professor of subjectivity, states that if in the 1950s it was the home that was the ideal focus for women's labor and attention, in the new millennium it is the body. A sleek, controlled figure is today essential for portraying success. The body has become the women's capital. Advertisements affect the way we think about ourselves. This is called our subjectivity. Subjectivity is not something we have created ourselves. Many advertising critics believe that advertising is the single greatest force to creating subjectivity.
We are told that we should be the same weight as the women we see in ads. We are told that we can be cool and have lots of good-looking friends and be happy just like the people we see in ads. How can we live up to these artificial and unrealistic expectations? Well, we can't. And because we are bombarded with these types of messages that we can never aspire to or sustain, we develop this low self-esteem. Look at all the stuff we buy today. Our prime motive for purchase is not the utility of the item, though that does play a part. A more pressing reason for most of our purchases is what sort of status the item will give us. We buy nice cars not only because they can get us from point A to point B, but simply because they give us a certain status and they make us look cool.
In our daily interactions, we are constantly defining for ourselves and for others what it means to be male and female in our society. From the way we dress, the way we behave, the structure of our interactions, to things such as body postures and ceremonial activities like opening doors and giving up chairs. We are communicating ideas about gender using culturally conventionalized behavior.
Our society has developed certain norms for gender. For example, we expect men to initiate dates, to do the car maintenance, whereas we expect women to decorate the house and to prepare the meals. Gender tells us what a man and a woman should be like, what attributes we should attribute to males and which we attribute to females. Now, gender is one of the most used aspects in advertisements. Advertising exploits this extensively. Why? Because gender is at the very core of who we are. It is central to our identity. According to Sut Jahali, author of Advertising, Gender and Sex, and I must tell you an expert in this field, advertisers use gender primarily because it is so central to our lives, and because of this, its messages can be quickly and easily understood. These ads, as they are now such a mainstream part of our lives, in effect, they now play an integral part of the process by which we learn today our own gender roles.
Half a century ago, goods were utilitarian in nature. Today, they have symbolic, emotional, and social meaning. The physical aspect of a good is now secondary to what the good means to us and to our identity.
The consumer society has caused a profound transformation in social life, involving the change in function of goods from being primarily satisfiers of wants to being primarily communicators of meaning. They inform and mediate social relations, telling individuals what they must buy to become fashionable, popular, and successful, while inducing them to buy particular products to reach these goals.
Advertising is significant because in consumer capitalism, individuals depend on it for meanings.
We consume not just out of need, but to express our identity. This process is called dematerialization.
Brands selling similar items do not compete on features. They all pretty much do the same things. Brands instead sell us on soul, on the meaning of the product. They reach out to our inner selves. How is the product going to make us feel?
In order to be successful and happy, we need to visually look the part. To understand advertising, we need to take a look at capitalism. Capitalism plays an important part in the influence and role of advertising in our society.
Capitalism needs hedonistic individuals who jump into their desires, or else the economy would lead to collapse. But at the same time, they need to be disciplined. See, this is the great contradiction of capitalism. If we don't buy, the capitalistic system crashes to a halt. So it's in the best interest of those on top of capitalism to keep things running the way they are, to keep on convincing us to buy in order to keep them on top. You see, with the recent recession in the United States, people didn't have any money, but advertising continued forward, trying to get people to reach into their pockets and spend that money that they didn't have. That is capitalism.
Thus, advertising plays an important role in capitalism by showing the type of life we want to live and the types of commodities that we need, and of course that we need to work in order to buy these things.
Capitalism wants us to want things, and advertisements just so happen to be very powerful and influential in making us want things. Capitalism is based on desires. Those that run capitalism, the major corporations, want to stay at the top. Advertising is the way that they lure us to buy things that we don't even need.
There is something about capitalism that makes us work very hard. We are not naturally good workers, but we work hard because we want to buy so badly. Advertising is capitalism speaking to us. Ads are the central speech process of capitalism. Ads teach and shape our identity, our perception, and they saturate our visual sphere.
The corporate voice is the loudest in the capitalistic system. It is really corporations that run capitalism.
Many critics are frustrated by the undemocratic nature of the advertising system. We see them all the time. We see them on billboards, at the bus stop, in the stores, virtually everywhere. In fact, 22 minutes out of an hour of television are advertisements.
Ads have the power to be in our face. They force their presence on us. We have a forced relationship with them. The commercial system, because of repetition, doesn't let us choose for ourselves the meaning of ads. Is this really democracy? I don't think so.
We are subjected to their will, and we gladly pay for this. In the magazines that we purchase, in the television that we watch, we pay for it.
Helen Irving once said, "The active audience insists that the audience is in control of the meaning of media products." I completely disagree with this. Ads use a persuasion process that is far from democratic.
Let me ask you a question. Are we as women really in control of what is beautiful? No. No. From all sides, messages are telling us how to think. You know, there are those who see beyond this mirage, who see the beauty in being overweight, the presence of wrinkles, or even gray hair. But more often than not, beauty is really that. It's skin deep. That the beauty really means those that are fair-skinned, that are skinny, that are sexy, that are young, that are big-busted, that are blonde. How can we not have this hypersexualized visualization of women engraved in our minds? No, I really don't believe Western women have control over the meaning of beauty. because the idea of beauty is thrown at them through this commercial system all the time.
I agree with Richard Pollard that intellectual submission seems almost inescapable given the omnipresence of advertising and the success with which its ideas, phrases, and melodies are implanted into our minds.
There are severe limits to thought in any culture. Perhaps the highest limit to thought occur within capitalism, because in capitalism, everything is monopolized by such a small group of people.
We gave corporations the same laws as us. It seemed like the right thing to do. After all, we are a democratic society. Corporations have the same freedom of speech that we have. But their voice can be heard and spread so much faster than ours can. We need to stop this. We need to stop this now. But if we restrict corporations, then people will say that that will make us socialists. And we don't want to be socialists, do we? I feel the same alarm as John Harms and Douglas Kleiner, who explain advertising and mass media have contributed to the development and reproduction of an undemocratic social order by concentrating on enormous economic and cultural power in the hands of a few corporations and individuals.
In the 1990s, communication was monopolized by the state and by corporations to produce us into consumers. Although it is still too early to tell the outcome of this 21st century, we all have unprecedented powers of speech, whether it be through blogging, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. Now the corporate speech system has to compete against us, billions of amateur voices. I'd like to see how they match up.